Every year I get asked the same question, Samsung or Apple? And every year I give the same answer. It depends, but this year got harder to answer because both of these phones made some important changes. What's up guys, Sagi here, and today we're gonna put the Galaxy S26 Ultra up against the iPhone 17 Pro Max in a full comparison. So design, display, performance, cameras, battery, the whole thing. And at the end of it, I'm gonna give you my honest take on who should buy which one and which one I would personally pick. Now we're going to start out with how these phones look and feel because you're gonna be holding one of these for the next couple of years. Samsung made the S26 Ultra noticeably cleaner this time around. The old angular camera module is gone. It's replaced by a unified camera island layout that looks more intentional. They also moved from titanium to what they're calling armor aluminum, and the result is a phone that's actually slimmer and lighter than I expected considering this size. The S Pen is still there. It's tucked into the bottom, and having a stylus is something that no iPhone can compete with. And for the right person, it completely changes how you use the phone. Now, Apple went in a different direction here. The iPhone 17 Pro Max also ditches the titanium of the last two generations, and it goes to an aluminum unibody with ceramic shield 2 on both the front and the back. And the rear glass protection is a big deal. Apple claims 4 times better crack resistance on the back compared to older models. And that's important because one thing is constant, and that's me dropping my phone. There are also fancier colors this year, especially for Apple, with deep blue and this cosmic orange. The iPhone is a bit heavier at 233 grams and a little bit thicker at 8.8 millimeters, and that's something you are going to notice in your pocket or when you're using them on a daily basis. Now, the iPhone and the S26 Ultra both get IP68 ratings, so you should be good around water and dust, but of course, keep them away from salt water. Both phones are running 6.9-inch panels, but what's happening inside is pretty different. The S26 Ultra's dynamic AMOLED 2X panel has a resolution of 3120 by 1440. It's super crisp, and the quality is noticeable in day-to-day life as well as when you're just using it to watch video. The peak brightness goes up to 2600 nits, and the 120 Hz adaptive refresh rate keeps everything looking smooth. The iPhone 17 Pro Max features a Super Retina XDR OLED display with a resolution of 2868 by 1320 and ProMotion at 120 Hz. Now, Apple pulls ahead in outdoor brightness. It tops out at 3000 nits, so it's brighter when you're using it in direct sunlight. Now, both devices also do a better job at handling glare than the previous models. This was already a strength for Samsung, and it's nice to see Apple upping its game. In everyday use, watching movies, playing games, or just scrolling, both of these screens are really nice. And the bezels are thin all the way around, which gives you that true edge-to-edge feeling. The AMOLED panel on the S26 Ultra handles dark scenes in movies and fast motion in games just absolutely beautifully. The iPhone's color science keeps everything looking natural and accurate. HDR content pops without feeling overdone, and the dynamic island has gotten slim enough to where it barely gets in the way. Ultimately, if you made me pick, I still think that I like the S26 display a little bit better, but it's super close. The real headline this year is Samsung's privacy display. This is not one of those screen protectors. It's actually a hardware feature that's built into the panel itself, and it's something that still blows my mind. What it does is physically limit the viewing angle when it's activated, so nobody sitting next to you can see your screen unless you want them to. It sounds like a gimmick until you're on a plane or on a subway or anywhere where you have someone next to you and you don't want them to see what's going on your phone. Also, because it's a hardware feature, you can limit it to certain apps like banking apps or even to specific things like certain notifications, and it works in both landscape and portrait modes. Now, under the hood, Samsung is running the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 and Apple is running the A19 Pro. And here are some single and multi-core performance scores for a quick reference, as well as a side-by-side GPU comparison, again, for those of you who are interested in benchmarks. To me, practical, real-life use is way more important than just numbers. And for the overwhelming majority of users, both flagship phones are way more than they're ever going to use. So doing things like short burst tasks, opening multiple apps at the same time, switching between them, loading heavy pages, Again, both phones are extremely fast and snappy, and pretty much the only time where I stress these phones is when I was benchmarking them. Now, gaming is where things got a little bit more nuanced because both phones handle demanding titles without breaking a sweat. Genshin Impact, PUBG, Asphalt, all of them run really nicely at high frame rates and they look great on both displays. If you play PUBG Mobile, you can get smooth plus ultra extreme on both phones. That means 120 FPS support. But if you push both of these phones through long gaming sessions, then you really start to test thermal performance. So the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 runs a little bit hot under sustained load and it will throttle back to protect itself. So performance in that second hour of intense gaming is not the same as the first. The A19 Pro with Apple's vapor chamber did some serious thermal work inside that aluminum unibody, and it was able to hold its performance more consistently over time. The A19 Pro is a more efficient chip, and the performance is super well optimized to avoid throttling. On the other hand, if you want to do something like use two apps side by side, that's something you're only able to do on the S26 Ultra. So after carrying both the iPhone 17 Pro Max and the Galaxy S26 Ultra around for a while, one thing became very obvious. Both of these phones are insanely powerful, but they also make you want to use them constantly. You're taking more photos, you're shooting more video, you're doing more AI stuff, more gaming, more editing, and you don't want to worry about battery life, especially when you're out all day. And that's actually why I've been carrying this, the TORRAS Minimag Pro. What's super cool about it is that it doesn't feel like one of those bulky battery packs that you throw in your backpack just in case. This thing is super slim, it's light, and it magnetically snaps right onto the back of your iPhone. So whether I'm filming B-roll, shooting photos, or even just navigating around all day while traveling, I can just keep using my phone normally while it charges without having to deal with a cable hanging from my phone the whole time. A lot of magnetic battery packs get hot, but the Minimag Pro actually uses graphene cooling and intelligent temperature control to keep the temperatures down while charging. There are two versions depending on which one you want. The 5K model is thinner and lighter, perfect if you just want something ultra portable for everyday carry. Then there's the 10K version, which gives you a lot more capacity for longer shoot days or travel, and it even has a battery percentage display on the front. So if you want to check out the TORRAS Minimag Pro, I'll have links down below, and thank you to TORRAS for sponsoring this portion of the video. Next, let's break down the camera systems because that's how a lot of people make their buying decisions. The S26 Ultra is running 4 cameras on the back, a 200 megapixel main, a 50 megapixel ultra wide, a 10 megapixel 3x telephoto, and then a 50 megapixel 5x periscope zoom. The iPhone 17 Pro Max has 3 cameras, a 48 megapixel main, a 48 megapixel ultra wide, and then a 48 megapixel 4x periscope telephoto. On the front, the S26 Ultra has a 12 megapixel selfie camera with a wider lens than last year, and Apple's running an 18 megapixel center stage camera that can shoot portrait framing even if you're holding the phone horizontally. So I took both of these phones out and shot the same scene side by side, and here's what I found. In good light, both phones are excellent and most people would be happy with either one, but they do have very different personalities. The S26 Ultra leans into punchy, saturated, high contrast images that look incredible right out of the camera. Colors pop, skies look dramatic, and there's a sharpness to everything which can sometimes feel over-rendered. The iPhone's daylight shots are warmer, more natural, and more accurate to what the scene actually looked like in real life. And neither approach is wrong, it really comes down to taste. So I tell people this all the time. I like to show images and videos side by side so you can see the difference, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is that your phone takes the kind of photos and videos that you like. Portrait mode is excellent on both phones. Edge detection is good even under tricky situations, and the focus fall off or the bokeh looks natural. The iPhone handles skin tones really well. It's natural, it's flattering without being fake, and definitely more muted in terms of saturation. The Samsung tends to sharpen facial features more aggressively, which looks striking on some faces and slightly overprocessed on others. It was also super interesting to see how different they performed in different lighting. And when you get close to the subject, the S26 Ultra resolves texture and fine details impressively. And the colors it renders on flowers and plants are rich and vivid. The iPhone is more restrained in its processing, but still produces beautiful close-up shots with accurate color. Now, low-light images kind of confused me this year, so I'm super curious to know what you think. The S26 Ultra's wider aperture on the main camera pulls in significantly more light than the iPhone's, and in practice, that translates to cleaner shadows, better highlight control in high contrast night scenes, and less noise in challenging conditions. Now, that said, the iPhone does do a great job. It's just that I would pick the S26 Ultra's images. Now, battery life here is close, and the winner depends on how you use your phone. In heavy mixed use and gaming, the S26 Ultra definitely edges ahead. But in lighter use cases and a mix of social media and work-based apps, the iPhone pulls ahead. Either way, both phones will get almost everyone through a typical day of work. Where Samsung clearly wins is charging. 60-watt wired gets the S26 Ultra to 84% in 30 minutes, and then fully charged in 43 minutes. The iPhone at 42 watts takes about 72 minutes to go from 0 to full charge. So if you forget to charge your phone overnight and you need a quick top off before heading out, Samsung gets you there in almost half the time. So here's where I land after spending some real time with both of these phones. The S26 Ultra is the phone for someone who wants everything. The S Pen, the privacy display, a versatile camera system, better multitasking, and fast charging speeds. If you live in the Android ecosystem and you want the best slab phone that Samsung has to offer, this is definitely it. The iPhone 17 Pro Max is for someone who wants a phone that just delivers every single day without having to think about it. You're getting consistent performance, one of the best selfie cameras on the market, decent battery life, and a camera system that produces beautiful results. So if you're in the Apple ecosystem, this phone definitely won't let you down. Now, the gap between the two has never been small, and whichever one you pick, you're holding one of the best phones ever. I carry both, but if I had to choose, I would go with the iPhone. Samsung's hardware is incredibly impressive, but because of specifically how I use my phone for work, I disproportionately value an ecosystem where I can quickly and seamlessly transfer images and videos from my phone to my MacBook Pro or iPad Pro. You know what I always say? Buy it nice or buy it twice. Good luck and see you soon.